When you're a famous artist, the world is always watching. One wrong move, whether it's lip-syncing during a performance or making a highly controversial statement, could cost you everything you've worked for. We're diving into some shocking moments when artists ruined their careers on live TV. Starting off with Janet Jackson, famous musician, actress, and sister of Michael Jackson. Her successful career earned her a spot at Super Bowl 38. Janet had toured with NSYNC, where a young Justin Timberlake, once a fan at her concert, found inspiration. After the tour, they became close friends and collaborators. At the Super Bowl halftime show, Janet performed a medley, joined by Justin for Rock Your Body. As Justin sang, "Bet I'll Have You Naked" by the end of this song, he pulled off part of Janet's costume, revealing her right breast with a nipple shield. Was it intentional? Janet looked shocked. It was later called a wardrobe malfunction. MTV and CBS quickly apologized, denying any knowledge of the nudity. MTV's CEO hinted Janet might have planned it, but the damage was done. NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue and FCC Chairman Michael Powell criticized Janet. Her team explained Justin was supposed to reveal a red lace bra, but the costume malfunctioned. CBS forced Janet to apologize publicly, explaining the mishap.
My decision to change the Super Bowl performance was actually made after the final rehearsal. MTV, CBS, the NFL had no knowledge of this whatsoever, and unfortunately, the whole thing went wrong in the end. I am really sorry if I offended anyone. That was truly not my intention.
In an interview, Janet Jackson expressed feeling humiliated by the exposure of her breasts to millions of viewers. Some conspiracy theorists even speculated that the incident was a media distraction from more serious matters. Certain media outlets edited her apology to make it seem like the exposure was intentional. Janet Jackson discussed the incident in a rare interview with Oprah Winfrey, sharing the challenges she faced after the controversy.
What people don't understand is he was to take and rip the piece off that he did.
The leather piece.
Right, but more came off than what was supposed to.
Janet reflected, saying, "It's hard to believe that there's a war and famine going on in the world. And yet, people made such a big deal about a breast." She denied that the incident was a publicity stunt, stating, "I have never pulled a stunt. Why would you do that and have your album come out 2 months later? It doesn't make sense." Many industry professionals supported her. The incident, dubbed Nipplegate, wasn't just a fleeting controversy. Rolling Stone noted that the scandal gave the FCC a chance to tighten regulations in an era where cable TV, satellite radio, and the internet had minimal restrictions. Determined to uphold common decency on network television, the FCC increased its scrutiny for years to come. After the incident, public backlash was intense, with the FCC receiving over 540,000 complaints. An FCC investigation followed, even reaching the Senate floor. Ironically, much of the debate wasn't about Nipplegate itself, but about the halftime show's music and content. A Tennessee banker even filed a class action lawsuit against Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake on behalf of all Americans who watched the outrageous conduct. The case, along with other frivolous lawsuits, was eventually dropped. Corporate sponsors were furious. America Online, the show's sponsor, demanded a $7.5 million refund, citing Justin Timberlake's infamous line before the incident. The FCC ruled the malfunction a deliberate attempt to shock viewers, fining Viacom, CBS's parent company, $27,500 per station, totaling $550,000, the largest FCC fine at that time. During all of this, Janet Jackson bore the brunt of the blame with very little support. Viacom's CEO blacklisted all Janet Jackson content across their networks, and she was barred from attending the Grammys, even being uninvited after initially being scheduled to appear. Although the Grammys eventually allowed her to return, Janet, along with Justin Timberlake and several other celebrities, was required to publicly apologize and comment on the incident. The controversy completely overshadowed the release of Janet's 8th studio album. Despite this, the album still managed to go platinum, selling over 3 million copies worldwide and earning a Grammy nomination. Clearly, her career wasn't ruined, but the backlash she faced was immense. Today, most people agree that Janet was treated extremely unfairly, especially considering that Justin Timberlake was the one who pulled off the garment. Reflecting on the incident years later, Timberlake admitted, "I wish I had supported Janet more. I'm not sorry, I apologize, but I wish I had been there more for Janet." This incident not only made Janet Jackson the most searched term, event, and image in internet history at the time, but also cemented her performance as the most infamous Super Bowl halftime show of all time. About a decade later, former FCC Chairman Michael Powell admitted that Janet Jackson had been treated unfairly. He stated, "I think we've been removed from this long enough for me to tell you that I had to put on the best version of outrage that I could. Look, I think it was dumb that it happened. They knew the rules and were flirting with them. But really, is this what we're going to do?" He also addressed the issue of Justin Timberlake facing no punishment, saying, "I personally thought that was really unfair. It all turned into being about her. In reality, if you slow the thing down, it's Justin ripping off her breastplate." Millie Vanilli was a duo whose entire career was built on a lie, a perfect example for this video. The two men, Rob Pilatus and Fab Morvan, met at a dance seminar in Munich, 1988. They quickly bonded over their shared dream of making it big in music. Soon, they started working as backup dancers, hoping for their big break. They recorded a demo album under a small German label, managing to sell a few thousand copies. This demo caught the eye of record producer Frank Farian, who wasted no time in setting up a meeting. At the time, Farian was assembling what he called a star group, and he needed Rob and Fab to complete the picture. But their looks weren't enough. Thrilled by the offer, Rob and Fab signed a multi-album contract without realizing what they were walking into. Hidden in the fine print was a clause that would change everything. Rob and Fab wouldn't be singing at all.
At that moment in our lives, we couldn't think better or wiser. We were 22, 23, very naive Germans, French people who never been in the United States, who hardly didn't speak English, who got this offer, you know. And I don't know if I would do it the same way, but probably maybe I would.
When Farian invited them to the studio, they performed "Girl, You Know It's True."
Girl, you know it's true.
Girl, you know it's true.
But their vocals didn't meet his standards. Instead, the song was completed by studio singers. But with Frank Farian holding their contract, he had total control over their careers. He created the name Millie Vanilli and kicked off his project. According to Rob Pilatus, they felt trapped, forced to comply because they needed to repay their record deal fast. The duo started touring, lip-syncing to tracks recorded by studio singers. But why did Farian choose them? Not for their voices, but for their star image, their looks, their dance moves, and their style. Yet the constant lip-syncing weighed on Rob and Fab. Rob once asked, "When are we going to be allowed to give some artistic input?" Farian's reply never changed. Yeah, but right now, we need you to focus on promotion. Don't worry, you'll get your chance. Just work with us. Their first single, "Girl, You Know It's True," the very track they auditioned with, exploded into a hit in Germany. Frank Farian then started working on Millie Vanilli's debut album, All or Nothing, released in 1988. By then, Rob and Fab knew the truth. They would never sing on a Millie Vanilli track, but they stayed, clinging to Farian's empty promises while the weight of the record contract loomed over them. When the album dropped in North America, it was unstoppable. 5 songs hit the Billboard Hot 100, with 3 reaching #1. By 1990, the album was certified 6 times platinum and even went diamond in Canada. Then came the peak and the beginning of the end, the 32nd Grammy Awards, 1990. Millie Vanilli won their first and only Grammy for Best New Artist. They had it all: fame, success, everything they dreamed of, but not the way they wanted. And deep down, they knew it couldn't last. Fans started asking questions. Were Millie Vanilli really singing? Their shaky English in interviews fueled the doubts. And then, July 1989, MTV Arena Tour. Disaster struck. During a live performance, the vocal track glitched, repeating over and over, exposing the truth. The lip-syncing rumors exploded. They could have blamed it on a backing track, like many artists do, but the damage was already done. But then, more voices emerged. Background singer Charles Shaw, uncredited on the American release of the album, claimed he was one of the real vocalists, adding fuel to the fire. Finally, after Shaw's statement and the disastrous performance on November the 14th, 1990, Frank Farian confessed he had fired Millie Vanilli and revealed that Rob and Fab never sang on any of their tracks. Shortly after, Millie Vanilli held a press conference where their Grammy was officially revoked, the first and only time in history. At the press conference, Rob and Fab shared their side of the story, exposing their experience with Farian. But as the faces of Millie Vanilli, the public's rage fell on them, not the label or managers. In 1993, they attempted a comeback as Rob and Fab, but the album flopped, just like their early demo years before. Despite the deception, they hoped for forgiveness and a second chance that never came. Worse still, Rob and Fab faced financial collapse after the Millie Vanilli scandal.
You guys are going diamond and so forth. Hundreds of millions of dollars are being made. Yeah. You guys are doing these major tours, you guys are on TV, you guys have these singles. How much are you guys profiting yourselves by the time the first album is now done and the Grammys won and everything?
I can't give you any precise number, but hear me out. He blocked everything because of the fights we had. So the only way we could make our money was on the road and tour in America.
Due to their battle with Frank Farian and a brutal contract, Rob and Fab barely earned anything from Millie Vanilli. The weight of it all crushed them. Rob Pilatus spiraled into drug addiction and crime. In a desperate bid for redemption, they tried working with Farian again, but it was too late. They recorded an album, Back in Attack, set for release in 1998, but tragedy struck. Rob Pilatus was found dead in a hotel room in Frankfurt, Germany, a victim of a drug overdose at just 32 years old. The story of Millie Vanilli is heartbreaking, not just because of the lies, but because the real villain, Frank Farian, walked away with the money and far less criticism. In 2015, Slim Jesus, an 18-year-old rapper from Ohio, became famous overnight with his song Drill Time. The video, released on August 18, 2015, showed him with guns and rapping about violence inspired by the Chicago drill music scene. His look, a skinny white teen, and the video's bold style made people talk a lot about him. Even though Drill Time made him look tough, Slim Jesus actually had a normal life. He worked regular jobs and made music as a hobby. He liked the drill genre, which is known for its hardcore style, and that's what helped him get famous online. But many people wondered if his lyrics and image were real. In an interview, Slim Jesus said his music was just him following the drill style, not his real life. As he got more popular, people started to question him. Some liked his music, but others said he was copying a culture that wasn't his. The fame brought Slim Jesus more attention, and he did interviews where he talked about his life. He was one of the first to use shock value in his music, which made him stand out, but it also made him a target. Many in the music industry made fun of him, and some artists even dissed him in their songs. People online roasted him too. A lot of fans doubted if Slim Jesus was as tough as he seemed. Still, he stayed popular, and even famous artists worked with him, though it didn't always feel real. But everything changed when he did an interview with DJ Vlad. In the interview, DJ Vlad asked him about gangs, street life, and if his image was real. Slim Jesus' answers didn't go well. He admitted his music was just an act, and it ruined the tough image he had built.
You know, when you listen to your music, there's a lot of street stories. Like, how involved were you street-wise in terms of...
Street-wise, like, I mean, for the most part on the street shit, like, I got homies that are in that shit, and I know people who are, and people around me. I mean, I haven't, like, I'm not out here catching bodies and shit, obviously. Like, I'm fucking smart, but, like... I mean, I know people, and I've been, you know, in some situations, but I'm not, like, out here fucking killing people.
Do you have a criminal record at all?
Nah, I'm straight.
Slim Jesus said he had been around rough people, but wasn't involved in violence or crime. He also said he had no criminal record. This honest moment went viral, getting 6.5 million views on YouTube. DJ Vlad even said it was his biggest interview ever. Fans had mixed feelings about Slim Jesus' confession. Some weren't shocked or bothered, while others felt let down. Many noticed that DJ Vlad didn't seem too impressed with Slim's honesty during the interview. Even though Slim Jesus' music kept getting millions of views, his hype started to fade. The mystery about whether this skinny white kid was really living the life he rapped about disappeared, and a lot of people began to see him as a joke. For some fans, it became hard to enjoy his music, knowing his lyrics weren't real. In another interview with DJ Vlad, Slim Jesus stood by his honesty, saying that lying about his life would only cause more trouble.
But you actually were the first rapper to come out from jump and say, I don't live any of the stuff that I rap about?
Yeah, right.
Now, why did you decide to go that route?
I mean, I figured like, I mean, for one, I just make music. Like, I don't really do this stuff, so obviously there's no point in lying about it. And also, lying about it is only gonna like bring me negative, you know, nonsense. It's not gonna, you know, bring anything positive in my view. So I just didn't see the point in lying about it, really.
Despite the drama, record labels still wanted to work with Slim Jesus. In 2015, Diddy even offered him a $1 million deal with Bad Boy Records, but Slim Jesus turned it down to stay independent. He even made a bold statement by burning a recording contract to show he was serious about staying independent. However, the drama around Slim Jesus' image took over, and his career started to fall fast. A big moment that hurt him was during one of his early shows in Ottawa, Canada. A local rapper named Black Jesus grabbed the mic from Slim Jesus and told the crowd to support real hip-hop.
Support real hip-hop, bitch.
This moment made things worse for Slim Jesus, hurting his credibility and slowing his momentum even more. Looking back, some people think Slim Jesus got too much hate, especially when other artists like Lil Tecca have openly said they make up stories in their music but didn't face the same level of criticism.
Took an airline, took one again, crashed a Rari, so I hopped in the Benz. I don't even drive. I don't even know how to drive. That's dead. I got 2 twin Glocks, turn you to a dancer. I don't have no straps for nobody. I don't got no straps. I got red, I got blue, what you want? The Chanel, Balenciaga, Louis Vuitton. She know I got the funny Prada when I hit Milan. No, I've never been to Europe or nothing.
This shows how complicated it can be for artists to be seen as real in the hip-hop world. In recent years, DaBaby, real name Jonathan Kirk, has been caught up in multiple controversies that have heavily impacted his career. In November 2018, DaBaby was involved in a shooting at a Walmart in Huntersville, North Carolina, which led to the death of 19-year-old Jalen Craig. DaBaby claimed he acted in self-defense, saying Craig and another person threatened him and his family. The most serious charges were dropped in March 2019. And he pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor for carrying a concealed weapon. In April 2022, Rolling Stone released surveillance footage of the incident, bringing fresh attention to his self-defense claim. Despite the controversy, DaBaby's career took off in 2019 and 2020. He dropped hits like Shug, Rockstar, and Bop, topping the charts and working with big names like Jack Harlow, Pop Smoke, Chance the Rapper, and J. Cole. These successes cemented his place in the rap game. But in 2021, his career took a sharp turn. During his set at Rolling Loud Miami, DaBaby went on a strange rant about AIDS and the LGBTQ+ community, saying,
Today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks, put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if you smell like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas, lights up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air. Let's be real about this shit. Yeah, keep it real. Some of y'all niggas suspect as a. Let's be real.
The comments caused instant backlash. While some fans defended him, saying his words weren't homophobic, many others found them hurtful and offensive. The drama blew up online, and DaBaby quickly responded on his Instagram story.
Me and all my fans at the show, the gay ones and the straight ones, we turned the fuck up. I'm talking about my boy that was at the front of the stage, left over there by where I jumped at. Ask him, he got clips all on his shit. The whole night was recording. We were turned the whole night. My boy had the crop top on, front row. Yeah, out there in that jungle, in that water.
Despite DaBaby standing by his comments and saying people misunderstood him because it was a live show, the backlash only got worse. Big names like Dua Lipa, Elton John, Demi Lovato, and Questlove spoke out against DaBaby's performance. DaBaby tried to apologize on Twitter, but it didn't help. His song with Dua Lipa got pulled from radio playlists. The clothing brand Boohoo Man cut ties with him, and he was dropped from major festivals like Lollapalooza and Governor's Ball. As the fallout grew, DaBaby finally posted his third and most formal apology on August 2nd, saying, "I want to apologize to the LGBTQ+ community for the hurtful and triggering comments I made. Once again, I apologize for my misinformed comments about HIV/AIDS, and I understand the importance of education on this topic. Love to all. God bless." But after this apology, DaBaby's actions made people doubt if he really meant it. In an interview, he called some of his critics crybabies and said he couldn't afford to quit, even if he got canceled. He even deleted his apology post. Because of all this, DaBaby lost a lot of opportunities, and his Rolling Loud performance remains one of the biggest setbacks of his career. But DaBaby's controversies didn't stop there. He had a very public feud with his girlfriend, Danny, and got into a physical fight with her brother at a bowling alley. He also made headlines for being rejected twice in 1 month when he tried to kiss a fan. On top of that, he shot an intruder at his home and even punched his own artist, Wisdom. Things hit a low point in August 2022 when DaBaby had to cancel a show in New Orleans after reportedly selling only 500 tickets for a venue that could hold 14,000 people. A major embarrassment that added to the idea that he had fallen off. His last big hit was Rockstar in 2020, and he hasn't had a major chart-topping song since. To make things worse, fans and critics started calling out his music for sounding the same, with the same flow on every track, which hurt his reputation even more. DaBaby is still putting out freestyles and new music, but his career is far from its peak. Now, fans are left wondering if he'll ever be able to make a real comeback. Fame can be a fleeting dream. One moment you're on top of the world, and the next, the world turns its back on you. So tell me, do you think these artists deserve their downfall, or were they victims of something bigger? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, in the music industry, not everything is as it seems.